Hello, everyone. This is Owen Wall Street with the TradersPerspective.com doing my weekend edition of my bi-weekly video analysis. Before you have gold, looking at the daily time frame just to kind of get an idea of where we are and where we're possibly heading. As you can see, earlier this week, we did in fact break out of this long-term monthly downtrend line. Only to meet resistance around 1295 or so. That's a level that I was actually kind of watching out for. I know that in my previous videos, I said that we could see an extension up to about the 1292, 1295 level even. It just depended on how much Momo that the Bulls had. But that level did serve as a pretty solid resistance, otherwise known as a double top from looking left here. So you could see we had hit this level before, retraced pretty hard, found support on this trend line here as well as this Fibonacci level, and we pushed higher, got fully above this downtrend line, which hasn't happened in quite some time. And then, we took a little bit of a breather, which is understandable, and I'm not, going to sit here and say it's the worst case scenario. I had a feeling that with the way we were going, that if we did break out, that we would still come back within this area here to kind of consolidate a little bit more before trying to push for further upside and back above 1300. So with that being said, let me just go ahead and drop down to the hourly time frame and start putting in some different levels for you to see. Um, you can see here we have a downtrend line on the 1 hour time frame. Zooming out a little bit to give you an idea of where we came from. Here's the beginning of this bounce where we came up to test this 1296 level, 1295, with a peak extension around 1298. And then we just kind of hit the selling pressure. We broke below the 50, came down, hit the 200, and just continued to meet with this selling pressure. Broke below the 200, and now we're back down here near this level, which I've located was serving as a bounce off this interim support line here. We are trying to consolidate a little bit here around 1268, 1270 level. I mentioned that was a possible level for us to kind of take a break if we did retrace. That was a level to target around 1270 with a further support level at around 1260, which needed to hold. So even if that fails, just looking at the general trend and the longer time frames, that's the way I try to look at it. You have to look at the longer time frames to kind of get an idea of what's really happening with this picture. So if I go ahead and just draw a Fibonacci level from here to recent highs, we've basically taken a roughly 50% retrace indicated by this line here. So we've bounced off the 50 and proceeded higher extremely quickly. So this is the weekly time frame, and that's a pretty good little run here. So just because we broke out and we closed under is not necessarily a bearish case. Could be considered bullish depending upon if we can hold above. So what's the level I'm looking for? Let me just go ahead and get rid of this Fibonacci levels. That way it's a little bit less cluttered. You can see that we are holding above this 50 period simple moving average now on the weekly time frame. Again, the bullish break this week. We did close back within this downtrend line. Again, not the biggest worry. I would get worried if we kind of broke below this 1260 level and started to head down to about this 200 period simple moving average located around 1235 or so. So even if that was to happen, in the grand scheme of things, near term we'd have some gold bearishness, but it's still not going to do much for this trend. I mean, as far as we're looking out, you can kind of see here on the monthly time frame that we've had a bounce. We've been pushing it. We've been getting closer and closer to this 50 period simple moving average. My moving averages have confirmed a bullish bias, and even on the weekly time frames, you have your 50 above the 200. So this would be the absolute low, in my opinion, if we did see some kind of a retrace, but highly doubtful. 1235 would be your level of absolutely easy money made, I believe, it as far as an intraday trade, and if you can get in there around 1235, that'd be a blessing. But again, 1240 on this daily time frame, 4 hour time frame, you can kind of get another idea. Could see some more downside. We just need to see if this trend line right here is going to hold. So if that's going to hold, great. If not, then target the 1260 level as I was mentioning, which would be this 100% retrace for gold. And even still, you have further downside support near this 200. So wouldn't be the worst case scenario. This level here, you have several layers of support here. So 1260, you have this trend line here. It's kind of a complicated picture, but try to keep it simple. If you're going to be looking to enter a trade here, drop down to your hourly time frame. keep your eye on these couple things. So you want to see this downtrend line here broken, and you want to see either this trend line hold, but I wouldn't put my money on it. I'd be willing to say that we might even break below it, just the way gold's been kind of trading lately. But in either case, I would say that 1263 would be a good place to kind of start targeting, and then 1260 to kind of definitely put a trade on here, and then see what happens from there. But overall, I say gold looks pretty healthy. Just taking a little bit of a breather right now after we broke out of this trading range here. So we were fighting with this 200, got above the 50, and the only thing is in the near term, again on a 4-hour time frame, you want to see this this area hold basically as your new support zone, and then another further bounce up. But that'll probably happen later towards the week, probably around Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe even Thursday or so. I believe we have the Fed minutes coming up in the next couple weeks or so. Haven't really checked my calendar lately. I'm more chart driven than I am news driven, so I'm not really too worried about that. You can see the money is definitely in gold right now, and the U.S. dollar has been under pressure. So it's kind of a complicated situation, but it's simple. Just try to target that low 1260s, and then put your stop losses in, see what happens. If she goes lower, then watch your 1240 level and this trend line here. But other than that, honestly, I don't see a lot of downside though. 1260 looks pretty solid. Watch your stop losses. Trade smart. In other words, manage your risk. I'm on Wall Street. This has been a presentation of gold. Thank you so much for watching.